Hello everybody, my name is Ardalan Bilavizadeh. Today I want to talk about leech farming and what is the worst scenario in leech farming. What is the worst scenario? You know why I lose the majority of the leeches after the feeding with the blood. Okay? At the first step, I want to tell you, when I say larva, I mean the size of the leeches with the 1 or 2 centimeters. Cosmetic leech is equal with the 2 4 centimeters. Adult leech 4 to 6 centimeters, and the mother leech over 8 centimeters. Okay, the sizes. Now you know why I lose the majority of the leeches. What is the maximum in the leech losses in which size? Usually we have these problems in the leeches with the 2 or 3 to 6 centimeters sizes. It's better to say 3 to 6 centimeter size. In this size, that is between the cosmetic leeches and the adult leeches. We have the maximum of the losses of the leech. The larva, it has a very high resistance to the feeding. This larva and also the mother leeches, the smallest size and the biggest size has a very high resistance to the feeding. Okay, but we have the majority of the losses between these two sizes, 3 to 6 centimeters. What are the reasons for this? Okay, first step, I want to tell you a story. All the leeches, the best leeches that I told you, even if I'm talking with you physicians or the leech therapists, that the best variety of the leeches for the therapy is the medicinalist or orientalist. You can find it in the Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and the Iran. Okay, the best. Usually, for example, the variety like the verbana that lives in the Turkey is not suitable. Only orientalist or the medicinalist variety. The medicinalist and orientalist leeches are in the nature. They live in the leeches, and we hunted from the nature, and they bring them to our farm in the room, and they put them in the aquarium, in the pan, plastic pan, and they its origin for the nature. And when you bring them and hunt them in there, when you want to grow them for the therapy, for the leech therapy, and you want to sell them in the market, they are very sensitive. Okay, to first action, they give reaction. They has a reaction, like the most important part. Why after feeding we lose the leeches? Because feeding is the most important activity, and a lot of the leeches come this process very complex. The leeches, when you receive the blood, and they have a reactions because they are in the nature and themselves hunt the, for example, frog or any animal that has a blood, like the only some like the frog, like the fishes, like anything, like the human. They are in the nature, and themselves, when they are hungry, they go with the hunt and receive very fresh blood in the open environment. But here in the farm, in the indoor, they are closed. Only a small, you can think in the 50 liters tank or the pan, you put only 50 leeches, 100 leeches, and you want to, in the 30 minutes, because it doesn't have economical justification, 1 to 1 leeches you give the blood, you put in the pan, or uh, you put in the pan, and the too much blood you give, and you want to, for the having your time, because you don't want them save your time, a lot of leeches put a lot of blood, and they are forced blood. For example, for the 2 months, I don't have any appetite, and after 2 months, I want to give all the hamburger or the pizza. My stomach has a reaction. That is a very sensitive. Okay, therefore, this is the main reason. Okay, they are in their nature, and you want to in the one time give the blood, too much blood, and some of them that avoid from the feeding, and some of them that they are blooding, they face with a lot of the problem, because their stomach is the 2 3 centimeter very sensitive, their stomach to the receiving the blood. Therefore, they maybe, when you feed these leeches, 70% you lost the leeches. Okay, 80% your leeches. Okay, what is the correct in the for the feeding. What should I do in the my book? Very detailed explain what kind of the blood is good. And now the first reason is the origin. This is a potential of the feeding. This feeding because the origin of leeches in the nature. Okay, nature. The first reason they are very sensitive. They are very sensitive. Therefore, when you bring in the closed environment, they has a reaction, and you have the majority of losses. The second thing, and the first number, also you should provide everything in the environment. Second things is the environmental factors. Environmental factors. Environmental factors. In the environmental, like room temperature, room humidity, room light, room CO2, all of this very important. The best temperature for the feeding is the temperature near the 25 centigrade. It means 7 days before feeding and 7 days after feeding, you should keep the temperature under 25 centigrade. Some of you, for example, today's temperature is 15 centigrade, tomorrow have feeding. Immediately increase the temperature 10 centigrade in the 8 hours. That is very clear what is the result. Leech very sensitive to the temperature fluctuation. Therefore, 7 days, 10 days before the time of the feeding, you should take gradually 1 centigrade to 1 centigrade, increase the temperature for the achieving the best results. Okay, therefore, every fluctuation, for example, in the breeding, we have in the cocooning, we have the special temperature, in the feeding, a special temperature, in the keeping, in the quarantine, the leeches, we have the special temperature. But if you did in the 2 days or the 3 days, all the leeches will lose all of the leeches. Okay, very clear. Therefore, this is what temperature. About the light, leeches doesn't need any light, but a small amount of the light is necessary for understanding the difference between the day and night. Very necessary. The very small light, that's so that they understand the difference between day and night. CO2 should be very low level because majority of you in the winter use the gas heating that uses with the fossil fuel like the petrol. This is very dangerous and increase the poisonous gases. Therefore, with the safe heating like the electricity heating, you should the devices that work with electricity, you should use it for the having. Third one is the blood itself. Blood itself. Some of you provide the blood from the centers that they don't follow the health tip. They don't follow the hygiene. They are not clean. Very important, hygiene, clean, safe, should be health center. In the standard organization, you should provide blood, not any store, any one person. This is, for example, in your home, this is the give you meat and you want to receive. That's very clear the results. In the standards should be uh, the sheep or the cow or the chicken, everything animal that you receive the blood should be in the suitable. You provide the blood. Okay, this blood. Also in my book mentioned which blood is good and which is the specification of the blood. But here in the blood itself should be source. At the first step, they should follow up the health tips. And the fourth things, after the receiving blood, for example, immediately that blood comes from the animal. This immediately converted to the liquid, to the solid. For preventing, we use something chemicals and the heparin, the majority of the center. But the heparin and the chemicals for preventing blood clotting, the chemical itself provides a lot of poison in the blood, that when you go to the stomach, to the inside of the leech, all leeches face with the problem and we lose the leeches. Therefore, for preventing blood clotting, we shouldn't use any preventing clotting like the heparin, like the um, anticoagulant, like everything that is there, like the thing. What should we do in the physical way? Physical way, we should keep the blood liquid, like the shaking. Okay, for example, when immediately you can just shake, and prevent from the blood clotting, and you have always the the method of keeping blood, preventing any using the chemicals if you want to have a fresh blood. These are very important. These four factors that they explain you. These are, if you take care of everything, I promise you, you have the healthy feeding. Okay. After that, I want to again repeat, the place that you are providing should be completely clean with the patience. Feeding only, all of you think only 3 hours, 4 hours in the one day should be complete. The process of the feeding should be in the couple of the days, 3 days, 4 days. If some of the leeches don't use the blood, you shouldn't persist in the blood. Okay, you should keep them, put in the pan, in the plastic pan, and for example 3 days later, 7 days later, you should, when you put in the blood, see any leeches that is not interested to the eating the blood. Okay, separate them and sort them and put them in the things. Therefore, very important also the cleaning water, the changing the water after the blooding. Every day they started to the returning the blood. That is very important, the changing the water that the leach. You should always keep the water clean, okay, clear. This is very important. Also, the environmental water factors. The water factors also is important. EC, pH, TDS, all the factors should be in the correct. Very important, the amount of the ammonia, the amount of pH, EC. These are guaranteed. Which water purifier you use. If you give the best water with the best factors, I promise you, you have the successful the feeding. All of these determine your success in the feeding. I have provided a complete book, very complete book with the details from the, if you face, for example, which drug you can use for the best for the increasing the breathing. If you need my book, you can text me on WhatsApp 0098 935 825 3945. Thank you.